Fiery story about life and death. Love never died for you. Precious friends, dangerous missions. Fire was everywhere. In the home, in the wilderness, in your heart. There are rules. It's not about you, it's about her. A new guy shows up, on a wing and a prayer, goofy and inferior. He is her future. Save her from her grief, let her go, and move on.
This is your captain speaking. Just wanted to go ahead and welcome all of you to Amblin Through Cinema Airlines. If you forget who we are, we're here to explore all the stories and film craft, defining the creative giants of the silver screen. Today we're enjoying the high-flying and firefighting romance of Steven Spielberg's Always, released in 1989. I'm your pilot, Tyler Birch.
And this is Crystal, the co-pilot.
The first things first, we're going to talk about our first impressions of this film, the first time that we watched it, whenever that would be, and just kind of our thoughts on it to get this party started. So, Mom, why don't you go ahead and tell us how you first interacted with Always?
Again, we returned to the Cactus Theater in Hawthorne, Nevada. Didn't go to see this on purpose. I'm sure it was just playing. I was in high school, loved romantic films. Obviously, I was a teenager, so a teenage girl.
What other ones were you watching at that time, if you remember?
Romantic. Let's see, like Pretty Woman and things like that. I also read lots of romance novels. Danielle Steele. Yeah. The film is sad. I don't think it really stuck with me as much as I thought it did until we rewatched it. So,
do you think it's sad or tragic? Or do you think it falls on that line?
I would say tragic because he never did tell her that he loved her. So, and I think if he had, he wouldn't have had to come back.
I was trying to figure out if that would have made more of an impression, if it was more tragic or more sad.
I mean, your boyfriend died, so that's
a bummer, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely a bummer.
But he died a hero.
He did.
Yeah, so for me, my first impressions, just when we just watched this film, earlier this week, that was the first time I'd ever experienced it. I hadn't heard of it, really, until like a year or two ago. Obviously, it's not something that like a lot of people are just always going on and on about when they talk about Spielberg. Obviously, so many films, and this one is just something that is so it's such an odd duck of his, to use the phrase that they use a lot in Empire of the Sun. It's such an odd duck of a film that I think that people just kind of forget it exists.
I did, and actually, I did forget it existed, and I never put it together with Steven Spielberg, so...
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of it that gives you those same Spielberg vibes, especially as people know, like, 1989, same year that Last Crusade came out, and that one was adventure-y and Spielberg-y, that, like, there's no way that you would have assumed that in that same year he would also release a film like Always.
Yeah.
And maybe the first film to do the whole ghost coming back and talking to somebody again, at least before Ghost, right?
I believe it was the next year.
Yeah, and I think that's what people most think about when they think of a concept like this.
Oh, yeah.
Because this movie has a surprising lack of pottery in it.
You hate to see that.
Yeah.
That was such a fun scene.
Well, it would have been odd just to have these, firefighters and gruff blue collar guys doing pottery wheels together. But you gotta bring them all together somehow, right?
That's right. So instead, they dance with Holly Hunter.
They'd all dance with the one person there that they thought of as a girl, I guess.
She was the only girl.
There was some that were.
There were? Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that were female firefighters, but
they did not highlight them like they did her. So
yeah, I think it's one of those things. I'm surprised they didn't do more of a glow up like the 80s, where it's like she's got like grease on her face and her hair's a mess, and then he gives her the gift of the dress, and she comes back down, and all of a sudden she's beautiful.
Of course, yes, she was there the whole time.
Yeah, wow. This movie was just a strange experience because it just felt like it didn't know what it wanted to be. It's a remake of a film that Spielberg loved as a kid, which means that it's even harder to change the source material. I'm surprised that they changed it from being about World War II.
I know.
To being about firefighters. Like, he seems like somebody that would have wanted it to be as close as possible to the movie that he remembered.
I would have preferred had it been.
Yeah, I think it would have fit more.
World War II, yeah.
And I think that's something that I saw. It didn't feel dangerous for the firefighters, obviously, other than the fact that one of them died, but there wasn't any true fear.
No.
Which you would have in the original movie, a guy called Joe. It's a unique concept to focus on a group of people that fly planes to put out fires.
That's true.
I thought that was really novel that they chose that.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we got away from it pretty much as soon as Pete died.
Yeah.
We went to do the training. I was really hoping that this would be kind of we're both very into fire and stuff. So
Oh, yes. Yes,
we
we are.
always like seeing it, and maybe more like a backdraft or something. But
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, this is interesting. I'm into it. And then they go to the training school, and
Yeah.
everything just kind of halts.
Well, no, don't they do the last mission?
I don't
No, they
know.
didn't, did they?
I mean, she went and
She went,
put out the fire to save the firefighters.
but it wasn't. You're right. There was no tension. I wasn't like, oh my God, they're gonna die.
Yeah, and there's no there was no reason for her to be the one on that mission.
Yeah, that's true.
And it wasn't even like, this is what killed Pete, so I need to go out and do it myself, because I wasn't there for him. What Pete did was completely different. So it doesn't even, you don't even get catharsis of her having either being able to pull off something that Pete couldn't, or she was able to honor him. Say it was like the same group of firefighters that he was trying to save when he died, and he wasn't able to. Then she came in and she was able to, and she was able to resolve that regret from before he died. Yes, she's a main character, but she wasn't the one that was learning to fly the whole time.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even involved. He literally was on the land or on the ground for the rest of it. Just felt very disjointed. I think you take out Ted Baker, this film would have been a lot better. Not even a dig against him or,
No.
Brad Johnson or anything. It was trying to put, a square peg through a circle hole with him.
Yeah.
And it destroyed the flow of the movie. It should have been, because his, Pete's big thing was he didn't want her to go out into the field as dangerous, helping her to become the pilot, and him first trying to protect her and then realizing that she's able to go out and fight these fires and resolve that trauma and let go, and they both move on. I think that would have been a far better story than him watching this wooden block of a man have his girlfriend fall in love with him while he whispers secrets to him on how to fly a plane.
Yeah, you're right. If you took him out, it would have been better. The reason why I think she went, and at the end, she was so grief stricken, I kind of felt like she was gonna go just be done with it. Like when she went in the water, it gave me the Bella vibes of when she just was there, wasn't gonna fight or anything. She was just trying to give into it.
So a twist I would have made when Pete gives his heartfelt confession to her in the plane
Yeah.
as she's putting out those fires and resolving the trauma and letting her go, put that in the water. And that's what gives her the strength to be able to rise up and want to survive.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Because it just felt really odd that he said, I love you, you're great, you need to go on, move on with your life, don't get attached with me, like I want you to be happy. And then her be like, you know what, I could just go now.
Yeah, that's true. The timing would have been better.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and just move on to the next segment, which is, now we talk about our first impressions, let's talk about what's on the screen. We're going to delve into the magic of film with Mr. DNA. Mr. DNA here, your cinematic helix. This is a movie about boundaries. We're not talking about lines that separate cities and states. We're talking about reading the room and respecting feelings. Sometimes the most grown-up thing a hero can do is to stop showing up when they're not needed. That's a fact. Heroes show up and fix things. That's their job. So what happens when heroes die? The characters have to save themselves, and normally that's easy, but not in this movie. Our dead hero keeps showing up and stays longer than he should have. So the hero feels more pain, finally does his real job, and drifts away. That's what a dead hero is for, to tie up loose ends and move on. So, moving on doesn't mean giving up, just means your time to shine is over. And bingo, cinema DNA. So first up, we always talk about the characters of this film. Obviously, we have to talk about the main character, Pete, high-flying, fire eater, coolest name ever, by the way.
Fire eater?
Was such a good name.
It was.
High-flying pilot that has a relationship with Dorinda. Unfortunately, he passes away trying to saving Al. And yeah, he's a ghost of lingering regret, and he has to train a pilot how to fly who had already flown earlier. Anyway, and also learn how to let go of Dorinda. So what do you think of Pete as a character? I know we already talked a bit about it, so you don't have to go too much into it, but what do you think?
I know Spielberg has a thing about Disney.
Yes.
We tend to find Disney everywhere. Pete was Peter Pan to me. He wouldn't grow up. He was just doing stupid things, even though she asked him not to. And then, boom, he's dead. And then still, when he came back, he was still doing selfish things, doing what he wanted to. To me, that was Peter Pan.
It's kind of like he went from Peter Pan to the Shadow.
That's right, the Shadow. Yeah. I really liked Dorinda. Between Dorinda and Al, they were a toss-up for me. I enjoyed Dorinda because she was fiery. She was, she had a lot of spirit. She didn't take any guff from anybody. She just...
Yeah, you could tell that she deserved to be on that base.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so interesting. You always hear about people talking about, oh, well, everybody expects me to be fiery or tomboyish or something, so I can't be girly. They secretly want to be girly, like when Pete gives her the dress and she says, oh, you see me like a girl, and she genuinely meant that. Like, yeah. People probably all her life just saw her as one of the guys.
That's true. Yeah.
But she got to be girly, and I like the relationship a lot.
I did too.
It was confusing at first.
Yes.
I had no idea if they were actually together or if he was harassing her. Somehow it was both.
It was teasing. It was,
So that was, and obviously it wasn't her birthday, but he gave her her birthday gift. We never got confirmation on when her birthday was.
I hope it was at least in the same week or
I
month.
don't know. So she said you mixed it up. And so like my mind is telling me that it was July 9th and he celebrated on September 7th.
Probably.
Like his brain just scrambled them together.
But she would have been upset because he would have missed it.
It might, so maybe though it was early.
But actually, it was good because he ended up dying. So,
True. Yeah.
what's meant to be. So, Al, what do you think of Al?
I thought Al was great. I mean, John Goodman is just always a delight to see on the screen. Just a kind of a bumbling guy that's fun and everything. And I really liked that he could become serious when he needed to be too. Like when he pretty much forced Dorinda to go back to the Flat Rock base with him because she needed it. Even though I don't know how she was flying that plane. That plane looked like it was drifting in the sky.
Yeah, that was scary. Maybe that was the tension we were supposed to feel. I'm like, what's going on with that plane?
Yeah, it's not supposed to move in those kinds of angles. But or when he got really mad at all the people because they weren't taking it seriously and his friend had died.
Yeah.
So and he hasn't fully processed that grief. So he's like, you guys can all be jokesters, just like a guy I knew.
Yeah.
And then you'll be putting your life at risk and everybody else's life at risk. And then if you think that's okay, then sure. But you know what? I don't want to train people that are going to have that same mentality. And you know, all of it is just because of Pete's gone and he's having a hard time with that to the point where he now became a teacher instead of going out to fight fires because he didn't feel comfortable going out to fight fires without Pete.
Yeah, I could see that. That has a lot of Maverick Goose vibes.
That's what when it happened, that's what it really felt
Yeah.
like was Maverick and Goose. Although I think it would have been better if we could have seen a little bit more of his guilt after that.
You think he felt guilty?
I think you have to feel guilty after.
That's true.
That's the survivor's guilt. The only reason why Pete died was because he did something really reckless to save Al.
Yeah.
And so I think that he would have felt guilty about it. I don't think he should have, but like
He still would have.
Yeah, because I mean, if your best friend dies because they saved your life, you're going to have a hard time processing that and being able to move on. So I think he would have felt guilty about it. And I'm sure part of that went into when he was talking to his troops, but I wish it kind of shone through a little bit more. And maybe we could have gotten more of an emotional catharsis to the end of his journey.
Yeah.
Because after he introduces Dorinda to Ted, I don't think we really see him again after that.
No, we don't. I'm trying to think. I don't think we do.
Yeah. He pops up a little bit, but it's all of a sudden it became this role that anybody could have played.
Yeah, they could have explored that more. All right, so Hap, played by Audrey Hepburn, mad respect for her. The character was a guide, but didn't guide very much. Says, hey, don't do these things selfishly. You need to give back or whatever she said. That was it. So Pete just kind of, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to have fun things happen, just like he was in life.
Yeah.
So it's like he hadn't learned anything from his death yet.
Yeah, she's not really a character that was necessary. I mean, I guess to give him the job of go and train somebody to be you. I thought it was really cool, like the whole production of them being in the burned forest and she's on the one grassy patch.
Yes.
Like all in white, all clean and pristine. Especially, it's tragic to think that Pete had been wandering there for 6 months.
Yeah.
In that burned forest.
Yeah.
Not even realizing that time had passed. Something definitely tragic about that. And then seeing happen, finally realizing how long it had been. I mean, you could have came out of that and it could have been 20 years later.
That's true. She did give him a haircut.
Which I guess was a reference to Dorinda's dreams. Remember, she had that dream and she was talking in her sleep about him getting a haircut the next day.
Oh, yeah, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then that makes more sense.
Before she was talking about the shopping list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think it was just in reference to that he needed to get a haircut.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about our favorite character, Ted Baker.
Certainly a guy that exists.
Yeah. What about his
entrepreneur?
His introduction.
I thought it was interesting. Winging a prayer, and he was a delivery guy.
I guess
for birthdays and stuff.
Yeah, it was.
I thought he was gonna sing. Honestly,
I did too.
I thought it was gonna be like, "Are you Dorinda?" And then he'd get out the little, yeah, and happy birthday. Like, I really thought that that's what was about to happen, and also
just went to Flat Rock
because of Dorinda for some reason.
Yeah, I know.
He said, "I'm gonna go become an attack pilot or whatever."
Whatever, yeah.
Air attack license, I think. But it is interesting. Just I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think it's pretty obvious I don't like Ted. He was purposely written to be nothing. The biggest problem I have with him, though, is that the reasons why Dorinda fell in love with him were all of the same, the Pete mannerisms
Yes.
that he picked up as Pete was talking in his ear.
Yeah.
And we didn't really talk about this. The way that Pete influences the world around him is when he talks, people hear it. Like they hear it kind of like a distant thought, which I think is a fantastic mechanic for having a ghost communicate with people.
Yes.
I really, really think that's interesting, and I love that idea. So that's what he did. He talked throughout the movie to them to try to kind of give them guidance as best as he could and see what they bring out of it. Pete would talk to Ted about her and everything, and it just felt really disingenuous because you know that the whole point of this is that Dorinda and Ted are supposed to be together after this movie. But there's, other than that weird interaction with the John Wayne impression, I don't think that there was anything that they interacted about that was genuinely Ted.
I was hoping you'd bring that up. Wah.
Who is that? Henry Fonda?
You had said something about that.
Yeah, so apparently this interaction was real in real life, where Ted Baker made a John Wayne impression and Dorinda, played by Holly Hunter, thought that it was Henry Fonda. And he thought it was so funny that he put it into the script. So that was like the only script thing that I could find. It is so odd. I don't know John Wayne well enough to even know if that was a good impression, if I'm going to be honest with you.
It was not.
But that was like the only genuine time where I think that he was himself with her. The rest of the time is just stuff that he picked up from Pete. His part in the story did not matter at all in the end, in the grand scheme of things.
All right, so let's talk about the opening. Remember, we were watching it and we're like, what's going on here? That plane, remember the
plane flying towards the lake and the guys are fishing.
And they're just chilling out. Can you imagine turning around and seeing that big plane coming at you?
I mean, it would have been terrifying. It was a cool introduction to the idea of what they do.
Yeah.
It establishes really early they're pilots. They pick up water. They drop water on fire. And it had a little bit of comedy, obviously, with the fishermen. So
yeah, they had to jump in the lake.
I don't really know what I was expecting going into this movie, but like I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, yeah.
It's supposed to be romance, maybe some comedy, but mainly about a guy that passed on. It took him a while to die, too.
It did. It really did.
I thought it was going to be first 10 minutes.
Boom.
Modern movies, it would have. It would have been. I mean, I do appreciate that they did that because they really, like I said earlier, the Pete and Dorinda relationship was really hard for me to suss out at the beginning and try to figure out what exactly is happening here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that it took about a half hour for him to, finally kick the bucket. I was invested in their relationship. I understood their relationship.
Yeah.
Same with his relationship with Al. I am glad it happened later, but also at the same time, the whole time I was just like, so when's this going to happen?
Is this it? Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of ruined it for him. Yeah, I ruined it for you.
How?
Because you knew he was going to die.
I mean, if you look at anything about Ablaze,
you're right,
you can find out he died. I wouldn't put that one on you.
Okay.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah.
Remember, they kept missing the fire at Flat Rock School or whatever they called it. They could not hit that little tiny fire to save their life.
The drum fire, I think.
Yeah. Was it Pete that told Ted?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, aim for that umbrella right
there. He
there.
said, yeah, look, aim for the umbrella. Don't worry about the fire. And so he just does it because he's the most susceptible to it because Ted has no thoughts in his head.
No, he does not. Oh my goodness, that was hilarious. So
I love the umbrella later on with the don't drop.
Yes, that's right.
Don't drop this stuff on me.
The red circle with the...
It's like no smoking, but please don't drop these things on me.
Oh my goodness, that was funny. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Or when he was drinking the Twinkie.
Oh God, that was gross.
That was weird.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he was just enjoying himself, watching these people fly these planes, had an ice cooler that was filled with Twinkies, and he just popped a straw in it and drank the insides.
Yeah, I was excited. I'm like, oh, he's going to eat a Twinkie. Twinkies are cool. We used to eat Twinkies,
That's so 80s.
So let's talk about, Dorinda and Pete had an altercation, or disagreement, I should say. Disagreement, not altercation. She had a premonition that he was gonna die. And so she wanted him to stop. Let's not do this anymore. Let's go to Flat Rock and I can be your girl, which was an interesting thing that kept coming up. That's my girl. It was very weird. Yeah, so they had that little thing and finally he agreed.
Yeah, well, Al was working on him earlier that day too, remember?
That's true, yeah.
He's the one that told him about the opportunity and Pete was like, oh, you'll be great at that. And he said, no, it's not for me. I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah.
Some other cocky guy that is going to get himself killed.
Who, Ted?
You just met him today. You really got that bad of an impression of him?
So it was a trope, of one last score and then I can retire.
He's got 3 days until retirement.
Exactly. The one last mission. But it's a good thing he went because he saved Al.
Yeah. He wouldn't have been able to move on if he knew the one mission that he didn't go on.
Yeah,
Al
Al.
died.
Yeah, Al would have died. You're right.
Yeah. Nobody else would have done something as stupid as that.
No.
That
No.
was, I don't know. So I don't know if it's related or not. This really reminded me of Revenge of the Sith when
Yes.
Obi-Wan had all the buzz droids and Anakin just scoots over and tears up his ship to kill them.
Yeah.
And then some of them get on him and that's what, so they try to start destroying his ship. I don't know if Lucas was like, hey, Spiels, you remember
Yeah.
16 years ago when you did Always and you had that part where
Yeah.
Pete put out the fire on Al by getting real close to him and dropping the retardant. But I'm going to do something like that. That's what it felt like as he was just angling towards him. I said, oh my God, it's happening.
Yep.
Just get way too close to him to help to save him. But I was like, it's going to be just like Anakin.
Yes, it is.
Because even in the beginning, when we first meet Pete, his engines go out.
Yeah.
And you think this is it.
Yep.
And it plays with you're intense because you think he's about to die.
Yeah.
It's the very first few minutes that you see him and he's gliding. Because I think one of my favorite parts, he's got Pete. I actually really like a lot of Pete's one-liners. I think he had a lot of good stuff.
Yes.
The guy that's in charge of the field, he's like, "Dude, is there anything you need?" He says, "Glider lessons."
Yes.
And he has to coast it and he lands it. And I was watching this sequence and I said, this is just what Anakin did with the invisible hand when it landed in Coruscant.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. Spiels and Lucas
back
at it again.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. It was sad that Al watched Pete die. You could just see on his face, and I mean, oh my God. He just had his face pressed against the cockpit window and just...
Al was surprisingly okay with his own death.
What do you mean?
Well, because he knew he was going to die.
He knew he was going to die?
After his engines went out.
Oh, right,
he knew
right.
He even said over the radio, as soon as this fire hits the gas line, this is it for me.
Yeah.
And he was surprisingly okay with his own death.
Yeah, that was odd. I guess because Pete would move on.
It's easier. I think it's easier for you to let yourself go than let others go.
That's true. I know it wasn't supposed to be funny at the time. You remember when Pete caught fire?
Oh, yeah.
And then he pointed can you believe this?
Yeah. I literally wrote in my notes, I was like, giving him you see this over here?
Yeah.
No, there was definitely, obviously not meant to be humor, but just the way that he just nods at it. And I think that just speaks to his cockiness and arrogance. That even when his engine goes down, what just almost killed Al, he's just like, can you see this?
Wow.
This is so inconvenient.
Yes, it is. But,
gosh,
he probably thought he was going to survive it.
I mean, he thought he was going to live forever.
Yeah. No wonder he was wandering
going to go
around.
home and marry his girl.
Yes. That's her. Yeah.
The amount of death flags that this man raised right at the end. I'm going to go home and propose to my girl. What did you say? And he's gone.
Yep. Pete's final monologue. Excellent.
In the cockpit with Dorinda?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was really good.
Yeah.
And just to kind of give a little bit of preface about this, the entire time that he's guiding Ted through all of this, he's always saying, not her. You can't get close to her. And he was telling her, you'll always think of me. You'll always regret it. You'll never be able to move on from me.
Mm-hmm.
And her facial expressions change as she's hearing this because he's trapping her, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
He does that the entire movie. So that's why this monologue was so good, because he's finally freeing her. He's giving her the wings that he said that she would never be allowed to have.
Well put. I like the wings. I see what you did there.
Yeah. Well, because he always wanted to fly. And he said, no.
That's
really
true.
That's the only reason why he said he was going to do the instructor job, was because she said, well, if you don't, then I'm going to get my license to fly up there with you.
Yeah, that's true.
He's like, girls don't belong in the cockpit kind of thing.
Yeah. So I appreciated that she was never a damsel in distress. That was refreshing.
Yeah.
Especially in 89.
Oh, yeah. Like you said, she stands on her own.
Yeah.
Even when she was in that dress, she was still able to tell all those guys, no, you go wash your hands before you dance with me.
Exactly.
One more thing we got to talk about. That weird air bunker that he went to during the storm and met the homeless guy.
That's right. I forgot about the homeless guy. Okay.
Something that you kind of notice as you watch this film, there's a touch of surrealness to it. When we watched it, I think I compared it a little bit more to a Tim Burton movie. Just some of the ways that they shot the film. I think it's because it kind of draws parallels to Beetlejuice, which came out, I think, the year before, with the afterlife and kind of the surrealness of it. So I think that's why the parallels were going in my brain. But there's a whole part where Ted gets kicked out after he coats Al in the fire retardant, so he gets sent home. He's flying home and there's a storm, so he hides out at an abandoned bunker or something, and he meets this homeless guy that's just talking to himself while looking into this fire, which I think is just all of us when we go camping. I think is just what you do. But it turns out that while everybody else is a little bit more receptive to him, this homeless guy repeats almost everything that he says.
Mm-hmm.
And so he uses this homeless guy to convey his message to Ted Baker to go back. But the guy only catches the second half of his message and ends up pretty much saying, if you go back, you'll meet Dorinda. You'll be able to get with her. Pete's just like, no, I'm trying to convince him to go learn how to fly. Why do you keep talking about the girl? Talking about like how as soon as you see somebody and you fall in love with them, you need to follow that and stuff. And he's like, what are you talking about? I want him to go learn how to do a loop-de-loop. The whole my girl thing, he says that a lot. And also he says my boy.
Yeah, that was...
When Ted does stuff a lot. And was he like, my boy? And then he looks over and he sees Dorinda's there now. And he's like, my girl.
Yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah.
Like he was a proud father.
Yeah.
Which was weird.
It was very weird. They don't have any connection.
No. I wonder if some stuff got cut. I don't know. It just, like you said, it was very disjointed.
I mean, he was there the day that they did the birthday, but they didn't really interact with each other except for her weirdly looking at Ted while she was dancing with Pete and just like staring into his eyes that whole time, which was very odd. And
maybe she thought, hey, that's a good looking guy.
Yeah, I guess so.
If Pete ever kicks off, man, yeah.
You're number 2 right there.
You're number 2, yeah.
You're on
You're on deck.
You're on deck. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Go get your bat. Do some warm-ups. That scene, the whole Hap being in a area of the forest that's perfectly preserved while around the burned forest, it was surreal. Kind of made me feel like they're kind of making like a Garden of Eden kind of parallel.
Okay, yeah.
Well, let's talk about our themes. I mean, we talked, I think, a lot about
the grief,
the growing up.
Yeah.
I think you were really keen on talking more about the hero's journey and how it relates to this movie, though.
Yeah, so usually a hero's journey, you've got the reluctant hero, you've got the gung-ho hero that wants to save everybody. Pete, to me, was an unlikely hero because he had that one instance where he was heroic to Al.
Yeah.
Because I remember Dorinda was talking about, you don't even save anybody's life. You're just hot dogging and whatever. You're just not...
You're cruising.
You're cruising.
Yeah.
There's even no rhyme or reason to what you're doing. You're just like waiting to die or something. She didn't say that, but that's how I feel. So him being a hero, he doesn't know how to do it. So him becoming the hero, and she crashed in the water, right?
Yes.
Okay. And just...
because her engines went out.
Her engines went out. Of course they did. Where did they get these planes?
This movie was not World War II era, but I think those planes were. So.
Yeah, you're probably right. So when she crashed into the water and she was just going to give up, she's like, oh, I'm done.
She sees him.
She sees him. That's right. And then they both swim up to the surface. So that to me was his hero's journey. He was definitely a reluctant hero. What do you think?
It's been a while since I've studied the monomyth. Because the monomyth, for those of you that don't know, is a hero's journey. If you look at it, it is just Star Wars. It is Luke Skywalker's journey.
Okay.
Every single aspect of the hero's journey you can apply to what he went through in A New Hope.
Okay.
I mean, a hero's journey of selflessness.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to frame it, because
definitely
he's selfish. He wants to keep Dorinda for himself. He wants to be able to keep fighting fires just for himself. He wants to keep flying for himself. Everything he does is just for him. And this movie is him learning how to do stuff for others.
Growing up.
Yep, growing up.
Ultimately
learning to let go, letting go of his own grief, helping free somebody else from their grief.
Yeah.
So I think journey of selflessness it makes sense.
Definitely.
I think our last theme is just invisibility, right?
Yeah.
Which this one's more of a literal theme. Obviously, they can't see him; they can only hear his occasional words. But we were talking about this before. This also kind of represents Dorinda, because her true self is invisible to Pete. The self of her that wants to be out there and flying herself, that wants to be free. He refuses to see that side of her, even though he is the only person that acknowledges her as a girl. So he actually can see through parts of it, but the parts that clash with his own ideology, he refuses to.
And plus, he didn't want her to die.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yes, he did truly care about her.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know we're talking about their relationship, and it's kind of odd and all over the place. We had a hard time pinning it down, but at the end of the day, we could tell he truly did love her.
Oh, yeah.
And even invisibility, when he was yelling, "I love you," and she couldn't hear it because of the plane turbines before he died.
Yeah. Ugh.
Like, he was genuinely yelling it to her, something that she had spent the first half hour saying, "You never say I love you back." He just says the Han Solo, "I know." But like, he finally did. He took that step to tell her that I love you, and she never got to hear it because the plane engines.
That was sad.
Yeah. So I think invisibility as a theme takes a lot of forms in this movie. And I think symbols, not a whole lot that specifically stands out. Obviously, like, fire, destruction, but it's also rebirth. It's what killed Pete, but also led to his rebirth as the ghost is going to go and train others.
Yeah, the fire was everywhere. The fireplace.
The fireplace, yes. Remember, they only light fires at night.
Yes.
They put out fires during the day and they light them at night.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Another symbol would be like the sky.
And the planes.
And the planes. Always the planes. If it flies, it's fly. So freedom, I guess.
Yeah,
Which would
freedom.
signify freedom and
Hope.
hope.
Hope for the people on the ground.
Yep. And death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, source of admiration and a source of fear. It's got a lot of dichotomy attached to it in this movie, I think.
Oh, yeah. And then something that stood out to me, and you kind of brought it up last episode, was the ethereal lighting. Dorinda actually called it the God light after the dancing.
Yeah,
They
they
were
took a
taking,
shortcut home.
and then the plane was all lit up.
Cool looking scene, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it was. And it just, he kept going in darkness, or he was in the light, and
Mhm.
she was in darkness.
Okay.
She actually had the premonition at that point, but it didn't really take root until she woke up, because I think she had a dream about it or something to that effect. There was a whole explanation about that scene in her house. I think it was her house, where they were in bed and they were safe. The fire was in the background, lighting them up, warming them. And then he gets up, he goes to the kitchen. The kitchen is like the darkness or something
The
like
other
that.
plane
The
kind of
other
thing.
plane.
Yeah.
And then he opens the fridge and there's
The blue light.
the blue
Yeah.
light. They go around the kitchen counter. She goes to the kitchen to the other plane, and then they're going around and around. Finally, she goes back to the bed, and he stays in the kitchen. But eventually, he comes back to the bed, and then they have their resolution. And I say air quotes because it wasn't quite a resolution.
Yeah, it was more just him giving in to keep her.
Yeah. And I wonder if he really would have
I
stopped.
don't think so.
Yeah.
When she's getting ready to go on the final mission, she gets bathed in light the same way.
Yep.
No, I think it's interesting. I mean, I think one of the things that we've learned the most about throughout this journey has been lighting. Oh, I will say her cat,
Oh, yeah.
Linda Blair,
Linda Blair.
which I really wish I could find out information about why she named that cat Linda Blair.
I know.
But I do think it's funny that it's Linda and Dorinda.
Yes.
And it could be, I mean, it would obviously, at this point, probably be an Exorcist reference.
I would think so.
With Reagan, and maybe it's because and especially in like Egyptian mythology, cats peer through the veil of death. And I don't know if you noticed, but Linda looked right at him when he was in the house.
He did.
It noticed him.
You're right.
Yeah. Linda doesn't normally like people, but she liked Ted, and that's because he was attached to Pete.
The Letting Go app. Tried staying, didn't work? Download the Letting Go app. Daily notifications like you already did enough. They're allowed to move on. Watching isn't helping. Premium version includes silent mode, permanent closure, and there's no refunds. The Letting Go app. Update your love language.
All right, now that we've talked about the silver screen, it's time to go behind the scenes with our The Shark is Not Working segment. I will preface this with there was nothing out there.
Yeah.
We tried to find as much as we could about the behind the scenes of this movie. There just wasn't anything.
Not really.
I don't know, maybe we're just spoiled because Spielberg is so covered by everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier to find stuff for a lot of his other movies, but it was a hurdle. Ended up watching some interviews from, I think it's Bobby Wygant. Did some interviews with the cast and Spielberg, and so that gave me a little bit of a glimpse into the story of it. And then we used IMDb trivia, which I try not to because those are user generated, and I can never. I want confirmation that that's something that's real. So I tried to get away from that, but it was really our only resource. And I found a couple other things that mentioned the same stuff that might have just been taken from IMDb. So I don't know.
Not sure.
So if it's incorrect, I do apologize.
Yes.
But we just wanted to bring something to you guys. We're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about casting.
So Paul Newman and Robert Redford were the two actors that Spielberg wanted for these roles. Sadly, they both wanted Pete. They couldn't figure it out. I don't know. They should have done rock, paper, scissors or something.
I think that's probably for the best.
Me too.
I don't think you couldn't have made Ted a recognizable actor.
No.
That would have been a mistake, because then Ben equal or overshadowed the person that played Pete, and Pete needs to be the one that's overshadowing them.
But you would have cared about him.
I mean, yeah, I know.
More.
I already said the best way to fix this is there's just no Pete at all, or no Ted at all.
Yes.
Because I think what they wanted for Ted was that he's the audience insert. Because whenever you see those two-dimensional wooden block characters, it's always that way. I could come in here and say, that's me. I could be that guy.
Yeah.
I'm more interesting than him. I'm also not familiar with Paul Newman and Robert Redford in the 80s. Which one would you thought it would be Pete, and which one do you think would be Ted?
I think at the time, Robert Redford was a little more recognizable. I'm trying to remember what Paul Newman did. It might have been The Sting or something. Maybe that was Robert Redford. Maybe they were both in it. But I knew Robert Redford from, I guess, The Natural and things like that. So I would think he would be Pete.
Okay.
Just from my perspective. He could be, I don't know if cheeky is the right word. I don't know much about Paul Newman, so I don't know if he could have pulled it off.
Okay, so Paul Newman would have been 64. Yeah, I think the only thing I know Paul Newman from is Road to Perdition and Cars.
And salad dressing. He has his own salad dressing.
That does sound familiar.
Yeah. Paul Newman's own.
Yes,
Yep.
that does sound familiar. Let's see what he was doing in the 80s.
Okay.
I have only heard of one of these movies. That's The Color of Money. He did Absence of Malice, The Verdict, Harry and Son, The Color of Money, Fat Man, and Little Boy.
Yeah, those sound pretty serious.
Granted, the only thing I know Robert Redford from is Captain America.
He did really well in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked his performance. So he was 53 at the time.
That's quite a difference.
How old did I say Paul Newman was?
64.
64. So 11 years.
Yeah.
If he's supposed to be a hotshot young guy, I don't really understand how that could have worked. Yeah, I think either of them could have worked as Pete, but I don't see it working out. Let's see. In the 80s, The Natural, of course, Out of Africa, Legal Eagles.
I think that one was not a serious movie.
It's Ivan Reitman. I don't think he does
Yeah.
serious movies. So again, Richard Dreyfus, who played the character, if that's exactly the type they were going for, it sounds like Robert Redford would have been Pete.
Do you ever feel like Spielberg falls back on Richard Dreyfus a lot? Because didn't he do that with Close Encounters?
I think every time it's Dreyfus begging Spielberg to go do it.
Yeah.
Because Close Encounters, wasn't it like Spielberg was looking for anybody else? And
Yeah,
then Dreyfus came in and said, look, man, you're going to make me this guy. Like, you're going to make me the main character of this movie.
Was it for Jaws as well? Didn't he want somebody else for Hooper?
I think that one he just didn't, he wasn't familiar with Richard Dreyfuss's game.
True.
Yeah. So
I think he was fairly new at that point, too.
Yeah.
So just something I noticed. I was like,
they seem like
maybe.
they have the most interesting relationship that
definitely.
we've seen so far.
Yes.
Obviously, he's had people that have done multiple movies with him, Harrison Ford, but it seems like they're amicable, they're very fun. I feel like Richard Dreyfuss and Spielberg might be one of those groups of friends that somebody says, you're such good friends, and they're like, what are you talking about?
No.
But we're always arguing. Yeah, but like, because you guys are really passionate and you know, connect with material. No. I'd rather no. I didn't have to kill him in this movie. I made it so that he died in this movie.
Okay, so tell us about Sir Sean Connery.
Yes, so as you know, Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade, Sean Connery was Indiana Jones Sr. So that's who Spielberg originally wanted for Hap, to have Sean Connery play him. In the original, a guy named Joe, Hap was a male. I think it was based off of a general, like the first 5-star general, I think, is what it said. It was like somebody named like Haps Williams or something like that.
Yeah, something to that effect.
And so they wanted Sean Connery for that. He wasn't available, so they eventually went ahead and picked up Audrey Hepburn for what would actually be her last role in the movie business before she passed away in, I believe, 1993.
Yeah. So I can't imagine Robert Redford, Paul Newman, and Sean Connery. I don't think they could have. It definitely would have changed the tone of the film.
Yeah. It wouldn't have gone for that kind of indie film. It would have had the burden of higher expectations.
Definitely.
You know, we've talked a lot about Spielberg and his concern that his name had started to weigh down his movies.
Mm-hmm.
Start adding these kinds of names, scales are going to start tipping further and further in a bad direction.
Oh, yeah. So let's throw in another wrench. Tom Cruise as Ted Baker.
Hot off of Top Gun.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he did anything in between.
Rain Man.
Oh, yeah, Rain Man.
Yeah.
Which they had... Spielberg was supposed to direct, but then he didn't because he was going to do Last Crusade. It would have been such an interesting movie.
With him as Ted?
Yeah. Because everybody would have went... It would have made tons of money.
Oh, yeah.
But people would have hated it.
Oh, yeah.
Because they would have said, oh my God, Top Gun is doing another Top Gun?
Yeah.
This movie, okay, let's go do this. And they would have came into this movie with this expectations that it's going to be the same story.
Mm-hmm.
They would have seen the way that Pete died in an almost goose-like fashion.
Yep.
And they said, oh, this is going to be, all right, Tommy, come in here. Let's bring us home. And then they would have seen the wooden block he was supposed to play. And they would have walked out of that theater, I think.
Okay, so here's another thing. Had he been Ted Baker, do you think Dorinda seriously would have been with Pete if Ted Baker looked like Tom Cruise? Not that Brad Johnson wasn't handsome, but...
I mean, you know more about 80s heartthrobs than I do, so...
Well, Brad Johnson was not...
But I mean like Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah, he was... Yeah.
Then yeah, no, it would have made more sense why she was staring at him as she was dancing with
There you
Pete.
go, yeah. Maybe she was imagining
Maybe.
Tom Cruise.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just in case. No, yeah, I think it would have just been a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And he had such a excess of personality, especially in the 80s. Pete would have gone to the wayside. He'd be set dressing at that point.
Mhm.
So I just, as much as I don't like Ted Baker, I think that they made the right choice of Brad Johnson and giving it to somebody that is not going to overshadow the performance of Pete, who's really supposed to be the beating heart of this movie.
So then he did his job.
Yeah.
So
No, Brad Johnson, I think.
oh, no, I mean Ted Baker.
Ted Baker, yes. Yeah.
No, I love Brad Johnson. This would fit here. He did the Left Behind movies. He was really good. He was a pilot.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Well, he knew how to do the job.
and the fact that he played the Marlboro Man and he's putting out fires, it's just, it's beautiful. I don't know how he got to be the Marlboro Man, but, and for those of
He had
you
a good
that
look
might
for it.
not know, Marlboros are cigarettes.
Yes.
So you keep bringing up this movie, A Guy Named Joe.
Yeah, so I know you watched part of it,
Yeah,
and you noted how different it was. From what we've seen on Spielberg's side, this movie came out, I think, 1943.
I believe so.
Yeah, it's a World War II style movie, basically the same storyline, but just think of it as more of, World War II military instead of firefighters in Colorado, Montana, wherever. Spielberg loved this movie as a kid. He used to watch it all the time. Apparently, he showed it to a date once and said, what do you think of this? She said she didn't like it. The relationship didn't pan out. Because she didn't like black and white movies, I guess.
It was black and white, and to be fair, had I been that age, I wouldn't have liked it either.
Yeah.
So black and white has kind of grown on me over the years, so I totally get where she's coming from.
And since it was a World War II military conflict movie, his relationship with his father, the reason why he's so interested in war and portraying war on film is because of his father and his influence. This is another dad connection, and apparently him and Richard Dreyfuss both love that movie, quoted it to each other a lot during the filming of Jaws.
They had a lot of time to talk, didn't they?
They had tons of time. When the sound department was drowning, they could talk about it.
Yes, when Bruce stopped working, they could talk about it.
They were like, this shark reminds me of putting out a forest fire. Wait,
what?
Say that again? Well, did you have any more for A Guy Named Joe?
It was nice. In that one, I think it was Irene Dunn.
Mhm.
She was on equal footing with the guys.
Okay.
She was in the military. I believe she was an officer.
Okay. So
Yeah. It was Spencer Tracy and
other guy.
Yeah. It was, honestly, if they had done Robert Redford and Paul Newman, it would have been more like that.
Okay.
I don't remember, from what I saw, the Pete character being as cheeky as Richard Dreyfuss. That's Richard Dreyfuss's character.
Right.
That's why I enjoy him. It doesn't matter what he does, what role he takes. There's always some kind of chuckle, or it's just, I don't know. It's enjoyable.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. I think I saw something that said that Spielberg expanded Pete's character for this movie because of Richard Dreyfuss. So it makes sense that if they did Paul Newman and Robert Redford instead, it'd be more of a straight remake.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I just can't see it, but.
And last for casting, so Spielberg did say why he cast Dreyfus and Holly Hunter, besides him and Richard Dreyfuss having their long-standing relationship. It was after 2 movies I haven't seen, unfortunately. So he cast Richard Dreyfuss after Stakeout.
So Stakeout is him and Emilio Estevez.
Okay.
And they're cops.
Okay.
And they're going undercover, and they have to stake out this woman's house. And I mean, it was so much fun. That's probably the first time I saw him other than Jaws, but I didn't recognize him.
Apparently, Spielberg saw him and was like, oh, Richard Dreyfuss is older now. And yet he's still looking good. Maybe I should cast him in this movie. Then Holly Hunter, he cast after seeing her breakout role in Broadcast News that came out in 1987.
That I haven't seen.
I haven't either,
Yeah.
but it's a movie that a lot of people highly recommend. So
I'm trying to remember her male lead. It was not Jeff Bridges. That's the other show.
to William Hurt.
William Hurt. Okay. Yep. That sounds right.
Yeah, William Hurt, Albert Brooks, and Holly Hunter.
Mhm.
And obviously, Holly Hunter went on to become Miss Incredible in The Incredibles, which I think is the thing that people remember her the most from that are my age.
Yeah.
And so, but it was very weird to see her 15 years before that in this movie.
Yeah, I remember you said she's young.
Yeah. Well, because the only other live action thing I've seen her in, Batman v Superman, because she plays a senator in that.
Oh, that's right. She did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was weird
That
seeing
makes
her in this
sense.
movie, and she had dark hair and she was young, and I was just like, what is happening? My brain can't comprehend this. But yeah, so that's what we found out about casting. So a little bit more, luckily, than we were able to find out about other stuff. This movie was actually in production for about 10 years before it actually happened. Spielberg had been working on it a long time. He says he's glad it took so long because he wasn't mature enough to be able to handle this kind of movie for a while, which I think as we've gone through this journey, we all can understand how impactful 85 to 89 has been for him
Mm-hmm.
as far as movies go. about 5 screenwriters over 10 years for this movie working on this film.
There's always a lot of screenwriters.
Yeah, and that's when he finally found a script that he liked and he wanted to move forward with.
Okay.
So for production, the big thing that they mentioned is about the storyboarding.
So the only thing that he really storyboarded was the action scenes, because you have to. But the rest of the movie, again, he's got that incredible sense for his actors, that respect, just like you mentioned about the John Wayne bit that was improv. Spielberg really likes it when his actors do things like that because it's more natural.
It's a good sign of him letting go
Yeah.
in his filmmaking, because we talked about 10 years before this, right? 1941.
Oh, yeah.
And how he storyboarded everything. He
Everything.
felt he needed to control every aspect of a film.
Yes.
And 10 years later, now he's saying, I'll storyboard what I can, but I want these guys just to be themselves.
Mhm.
Showing progress.
Oh, definitely. That was a good point. I forgot how tight he was on all of
yeah.
that. So, all right. So tell us about the trees.
Bobby Wygant owns a forest, apparently. And so she was worried about if they burned any trees for this movie, because obviously it's all about forest fires.
Mhm.
He assured her there were no trees harmed in the making of this movie. For scenes that they did outside, they set up scenes that were already in burned sites of Yellowstone. There was a big forest fire in 88 that they took footage from.
Yes,
that
I
they
did see
also
that
used,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anything that they needed that they actually had to burn stuff, they used miniatures for.
Yep.
So,
They love their miniatures.
yes, they do love their miniatures. At the end of the movie, there's a disclaimer.
Oh, yes.
Not to inhale helium. They did the whole bit where they were Al inhaled helium and he was using a funny voice, and then Mr. Dreyfus is Pete. Didn't he do Woody Woodpecker?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the music. I know you found some music stuff which we haven't gotten to talk about recently.
As you know, John Williams did the score. One of the songs that they played at least twice that I know of was Smoke Gets in Your Eyes.
How could that relate to this firefighting?
I know. I was like, oh, I get it. They played it at her birthday party, her pseudo birthday party. And it was the guy on the keyboard. And his name was J.D. Souther.
Okay.
Not sure if I said that right. I apologize. He is the pianist when they're dancing.
Okay.
Yeah. So he sang it. He also collaborated with the Eagles for most of their songs.
Oh, okay.
So that's a good get for Spielberg. And of course, the original song was done by the Platters. So another interesting thing I found was there was no underscoring for the first 20 minutes of the film.
And does that just mean no music in the background?
Yeah, no music in the background.
Okay.
I know I had to look it up. I was like, what is that?
It's one of those things that you look at and you're like, that's probably what this means, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
if you think back, there was no music for the men in the boat. And then
It would have been 20 minutes in.
up to the party, I think.
Up to the party? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if we're just so used to hearing it that we don't realize when it's not there. I don't know.
The music's not as loud in these movies. Now when you watch a horror movie, it's in your ears, and then all of a sudden it's not.
And then you know something's happening.
Yeah, in movies in like the 80s, it's kind of, it's there, it's there, but you're not really, it's a part of the scene to you. It's not its own element. So when Pete speaks to Dorinda, I'm assuming at the end?
Yes.
Yeah. The score had a new age feel to it, which is an idiom that John Williams, who composed this movie, like he does for most, he explored that when he did the Fortress of Solitude sequence in Superman, which I think that makes sense because that's very an ethereal scene. Him confronting his past and learning more about himself it's a good way to fit into the scene that we see in Always with him finally letting her go.
And then he just walked away into the light. I noticed that Pete was whistling a song, so I had to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the Leave It to Beaver theme song, which I was not expecting. I thought it would be more, should have been Disney. I'm just saying.
I don't know if he could afford that. His budget wasn't very large.
Yeah, okay.
And it's probably something from supposed to be something from his childhood.
That's true. Yeah. That was a very popular show back in the day.
And he's childish, so singing a song or whistling
and Woody Woodpecker,
whistling a theme song from something that you're watching when you're 8 makes sense.
Oh yeah, okay. So now we have some miscellaneous fun facts.
Yeah, some of this connects to things that we talked about earlier. So like we said, Audrey Hepburn, this is her last film. She got a $1 million fee, that late career great actor money, and she actually donated most, if not all of it, to UNICEF.
Yeah.
An organization to, I think, provide food to
Yes,
people
I
that
believe so.
don't have it. So all I remember are just the commercials that came up when I was watching TV as a kid.
Oh, it's those commercials. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yep, I remember.
There's one more, a guy named Joe fact, and I'm going to have you take this one.
Okay. We've been talking about A Guy Named Joe, the movie, and how him and Richard Dreyfus love that movie. So this is the second movie to make Spielberg cry. The first was Bambi, obviously. And I guess Richard Dreyfus had seen it like 35 times.
Yeah,
So
that's
that was
crazy.
Yeah.
Can't imagine watching a movie that many times back then.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get access to it?
You keep going to the theater, I guess.
Was Richard Dreyfuss alive when it came out?
I mean, okay, let's think about this. Reruns on TV?
Did they do reruns back then?
I mean,
1943.
they didn't have videotapes yet.
Richard Dreyfuss was born 4 years after it came out.
Okay.
So
He may have seen it in the theater, and then maybe the
maybe
networks picked it up. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the landscape back then.
Yeah.
But it just seems like that's really hard compared to today, where I could just play Jurassic Park and it just continuously replays.
Of course. Yeah, we definitely didn't have streaming back then.
Yeah, that just makes it more impressive to me. Like, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
a true labor of love that he somehow was able to get this.
That is. I hadn't thought about it. I don't know, in my mind, I'm like, oh, yeah, you watched it on VCR. No, wait, there was no VCR because Spielberg loves his planes. The Fire Eater's plane from the movie is actually in the Montana Museum of the Mountain, located in Missoula, Montana.
Okay.
And so they showed a picture of it. This was a YouTube thing. And it had a little, remember the old cameras? It had a little painting of an old camera. I don't know if you noticed on the poster, there was a plane and it's like it's skywrote always.
Okay.
So it had that on there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, they still have it and they still work on it. And it's a good thing because obviously it had some issues, but we all do as we get old. So yeah, tell us about John Goodman.
Yes. So John Goodman, Spielberg told him that he would make a great Fred Flintstone, and he would actually play Fred 5 years later in the Flintstones movie, which was always a personal favorite of mine.
Wow, that's like prophetic.
I know, yeah. It's like, wow, you have a good look for it. And then lo and behold,
Yeah.
he does.
He didn't do the Flintstones movie, so he had no
I don't think he had any
connection
sway
to it,
over
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that the
That's
Flintstones
interesting.
probably was in production for a long time.
They wrote it for 10 years or something. Oh,
Amblin produced it.
oh well, geez.
So, I mean, not that that means that
I
he had
know,
anything to say
but
about
still, there's the connection. That's okay. We'll just call it prophetic.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
Okay.
oh.
So there was multiple people considered for the role of Fred Flintstone. Goodman felt he was sandbagged into the role of Fred years earlier at the table read for the film Always, when Steven Spielberg announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say something before we start. I found my Fred Flintstone."
Nice. Okay.
So he's saying, like, since it was mentioned 5 years ago, it planted the seeds for me to take on this role 5 years later because of what he said.
Nice.
All right. And our last Audrey Hepburn fact. In the opening sequence, Pete refers to Dorinda as funny face over the radio as a term of endearment. Hap, played by Audrey Hepburn, she was the female lead in Funny Face. Fun little connection there. And another fun little connection, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, featured in Richard Dreyfuss's film American Graffiti, directed by George Lucas.
There you go.
So,
yeah, the bros.
The bros.
The bros.
So, we had to if we find any kind of connection between the two, we have to include it. So, and then we talked about Dan Aykroyd being in these films before. Al watches I think just an SNL skit of Dan Aykroyd as Julia Childs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I couldn't find any connection to Julia Childs to this movie, but that SNL skit, and then Dorinda had Julia Child's cookbook in her kitchen when she went and bought a bunch of food from essentially KFC homestyle cooking, and then brought it and plated it so that way it seemed like she could cook for her first date with Ted. I don't know if it's just an inside joke that they just wanted to include, but I couldn't see anything that was specifically related to Julia Childs. But I think it's all of our behind the scenes information, unless you have anything else.
Yeah. Audrey Hepburn was carried around on a stretcher.
Yes, to keep the white outfit pristine.
Yes.
Because she's wearing all white. And
yes, she was.
There was a little suit from the fire, so makes sense.
It does.
Now that we've talked about behind the scenes, we're going to talk about the thing the studios love, the money and the milestones. So first up, we're going to talk about the box office gross for this movie. It came out in 1989. It was made for $29.5 million. Actually, a pretty high budget for Spielberg, which is kind of crazy. If you look at it, I think the only ones that were higher, I mean, this had a higher budget than Temple of Doom. I'm not sure where the money went, but...
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. And the box office gross was $74.1 million. To use our typical rule, where it's double is going to include marketing, that means that it did make a minor profit. about 15 million, we'll say.
Okay.
So not terrible, but definitely one of his worst, I would say, as far as ratio of budget to box office.
Remember, they paid Audrey Hepburn $1 million.
$1 million,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think, because everything else more than broke even. So this is his weakest box office performance. It was not in the top 10 for that year. So for the domestic box office for December of 1989, number one, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Well earned.
Yeah, stand out for all of us. Yeah, I mean that movie's huge now. I mean it was big then, but I think it's huge, bigger than it ever was now.
Yeah.
Next was Back to the Future Part 2, which grossed just a lot of money in general, but domestically, yeah, it was number 2. The War of the Roses, which is a movie that was recently remade that you guys did not like.
Did not. Love the original, though.
The Little Mermaid. So we are now in the beginning of the Disney Renaissance.
Yes.
So The Little Mermaid came out in November. Big Thanksgiving movie. Still Magnolias.
Sally Field, Julia Roberts. A very well done drama.
Okay.
Based on a play.
Okay. Number 6 was Tango and Cash, which actually was the only movie that was released on the same day as Always. Because I did see that because Sylvester Stallone had been hitting so many flops. Like Rocky franchise was in a decline at this time, so they thought they had it easy. They were like, this is going to be totally fine. But Tango and Cash ended up taking a lot of their business.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a surprise to them. And then, yeah, Harlem Nights, Look Who's Talking, number 9, Always, and then number 10, a movie called Prancer.
Yep, about the reindeer.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be about the reindeer, but I was like, honestly, you never know. So. But so still, yeah, I mean, I guess top 10 in 1 month of a year is probably not the biggest deal, but at least we know it made some money.
Yeah, I always panic because I'm like, okay, where is it? Where is it actually?
And then, unfortunately, Always did not get nominated for any awards. So there was no nominations for Academy Awards. There was no wins for Academy Awards.
Sad.
Yeah. All right. And then, Mom, why don't you go ahead and tell us the critic reviews you found?
Okay. So, Pauline Kael did not review this movie.
She only had one review for Spielberg, and she said, I'm doing this for Last Crusade.
I was sad. I always like to see what she's going to say. But I did find Roger Ebert. Disclaimer here, these are not great. So
that's fine.
Yep. Quote, the film's most curious quality, given the fact that it was directed by Spielberg, is a lack of urgency, which we agree with.
Mm-hmm.
He also went on to say the result is a curiosity, a remake that wasn't remade enough.
Makes sense. It doesn't sound like he hated it. He
he expected more.
Yeah, and he understood that it also didn't know what it was supposed to be.
And then Sheila Benson, which is a new critic for me, said, quote, so we've got an unrealized heaven and a banal and noisy earth that leaves only hell, and that may feel realized enough by those who pay money to see this gargantuan nonsense. So that was
pretty cut and dry.
Brutal.
Yeah, pretty cut and dry. Did not like it.
And then, of course, our Rotten Tomatoes, it was 70% on the tomato meter and 58% on the popcorn meter.
I think this is our first one since we started doing these Rotten Tomatoes where the critics liked it more than the audience.
Yeah, than the audience. Yeah, that was sad.
Okay, and as always, we followed up with my Letterboxd review. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3 star, same as Empire of the Sun, I believe, because I think that Dreyfus' performance wasn't enough to lift this up. And I really liked Dorinda. I liked Al. I liked the characters a lot. I thought it was a really novel concept. I was telling you that this movie kind of feels kind of like a proto-Twister. It has similar vibes to it. Obviously, it's very blue collar. The way that things that for us are terrifying, like forest fires, just feels like another day of the job for them.
Mm-hmm.
Just felt very much like Twister related. That's how the movie made me feel. Okay. And then for this movie, On a Wing and a Prayer, these are our days of our lives. I feel like that really sums up the movie a little bit.
It really does.
Yeah. So if you want to follow my Letterboxd, go ahead and check me out. It's Birch94, BURCH.
Not like the tree?
So love to have you over there. Now that we've gone over the reviews, we're going to go ahead and hit our rankings. So as always, Mom, tell us where you ranked it.
So this was tough. I was struggling. So I'll start with number 1 and we'll see where we go. So number 1, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Number 2, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Number 3, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Number 4, Jaws. Number 5, The Color Purple. Number 6, Duel. Number 7, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Number 8, Always. Number 9, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Number 10, The Sugarland Express. Number 11, Empire of the Sun. And number 12, 1941.
Okay, interesting. The Texas Gold Stars have been defeated.
I mean, it's still hanging on.
I mean, but this movie's higher than that. So.
Yeah. This goes to what we talked about, maybe doing a tier list, because sometimes it's hard to put movies in a ranking that like are drama or comedy and
Yeah.
all the things. So
Yeah. And I get that. And that's why we always make sure we remind people these are
Yeah.
just personal rankings. As you can tell, the two of us were more into actions, adventure, sci-fi, fantasy. So when it comes to ranking things that are, more romance based or drama based, it's always harder for us
it is.
because it's just not the typical movie that we go for. Okay. And for me, it's Jaws number 1, Last Crusade number 2, Raiders of the Lost Ark number 3, E.T. the Extraterrestrial at 4, Color Purple at 5, Duel at 6, Temple of Doom at 7, Close Encounters at 8, Sugarland Express at 9, Always at 10, Empire of the Sun at 11, and 1941 at 12. I think I was debating between Always and Empire of the Sun. I think I really liked the performance of Dreyfus and
Yeah.
Goodman and Holly Hunter.
I could see that.
Yeah. Empire of the Sun didn't feel like it got to take advantage of some of the best parts of using things like Joey Pants and John Malkovich. So
Yeah.
at least this one, it felt like the people that they had placed in those roles actually were meant for those roles.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, so that's our rankings. Starting to get a little bit more divergence. Always fun to see. Don't forget to give us a 5-star review on your podcast player of choice. We'll read it aloud. Or please just tell your friends. Tell them more about what's going on out there, about this podcast. Maybe don't tell them to start with Always. This seems like more of after you've listened to the greatest hits of the episodes and you just want to hear our voices more, come and listen to this episode.
Absolutely.
Although it was still fun to talk about, and I don't think I've ever hated talking about any of these movies.
No.
1941 came the closest, but
did.
even then, just learning more about it was fun. But yeah, so make sure you go ahead, do those reviews, tell your friends. If you're on YouTube, give us a like, comment, subscribe. Helps us get this word out for our podcast. Next episode will be on Hook. We'll finally be entering the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So very exciting, getting close to my favorite movie of all time. So that's going to be really exciting. But yeah, until then, I'll leave you with my favorite quote from Spielberg. Through amazing stories and unforgettable characters, we are introduced to these incredible worlds we only dare imagine. And in the process, we discover ourselves. This is Tyler, signing off.
And this is Crystal. Don't forget to notice the purple.